It's all painted white, nice and neat and shiny before I put it in. But you can see the thickness of the material, 1/8 inch. Thickness, I mean, that's about what that is, right? Not 1/2 inch. So what did they do? How in the world did they get those Sanwa control? Not HAP, but Sanwa. Still the same issue, because what Sanwa does is Sanwa has these little plastic spring-loaded clips on the body of the round switch itself. I should have grabbed one. I think I have one somewhere. Should have brought it out. But anyway, the point is you push it down into 1/8 inch thick material, and then those little plastic pieces pop out, and it holds that switch in place. So this is the bottom side of it. And you can see the layout looks exactly the same. The buttons look exactly the same. And the joysticks look exactly the same as what you would find on any stock Arcade1up. That's because the stock Arcade1up controls they're like Sanwa clones, right? You see, here's what they did. They went around the button where those little plastic clips are, and they did an additional routing. They did the depth, probably they cut it maybe in half, so it may be 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, maybe too thin. I may be thinking of the thickness could be off, but it's probably more like 1/4 inch, let's say. So that's what they did. You got the standard circle that they have to drill all the way through the panel, and then these notches, these wings on the side. Let me bring up another picture. Anyway, this is probably the best shot that I have. But they did an additional routing, a depth route on either side, so that those tabs can kind of wing out. Those Sanwa tabs can wing out when you press it in and lock it in place. And if you look close, you can kind of see the Sanwa branding on the black part of the switch itself. But other than that, if you've been inside your control panel, it looks fairly similar. Switch over to the encoder. If you're just looking at this part, you think this is just a stock standard, Arcade1up. No difference at all, because it's very similar to Sanwa. Let's take a look at the joystick. A little bit closer look at the joystick, and you see that it looks very, very similar. And you can the thing about the Sanwa though is you can swap out those gates. You have just a square gate here. You can go to an octagonal gate easily, because they make Sanwa replacements that you can easily just swap those out. It's not so easy when you're talking about knockoff sticks from Arcade1up. It's not quite the same. When you buy those, if you try to get those Sanwa gates on the bottom, octagonal gates, you have to do a little bit of modification to get them really clip in nice, because they're not really Sanwa. They're not made for that. But you see, you're not looking at something radically different than what you have with the standard, with your standard Arcade1up. It looks very similar. You're going to have some additional routing in the control panel itself. That's it. So what's the point? The point is that I think from this point on, moving forward, you want to justify $700, $699, you're going to have to go all Sanwa.